Imagine being called the most talented actor of your generation, and then losing it all to drugs, arrests, and prison. Imagine having everything: fame, money, talent, family, and then one day waking up in a jail cell, not even knowing how you got there. This is not fiction. This is the real-life story of Robert Downey Jr., the man who went from being Hollywood's lost cause to becoming Iron Man, a hero not just on screen, but in real life too. Today, we dive deep into how Robert Downey Jr. became one of the most famous actors in the world, how he rose from zero to hero, from addiction to redemption, from being uninsurable to becoming the highest-paid actor in Hollywood history. This is the ultimate story of failure, resilience, and transformation. This is the story of Robert Downey Jr. Robert John Downey Jr. was born on April 4, 1965, in Manhattan, New York City. He was born into a family of artists. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was an underground filmmaker, and his mother, Elsie Ann, was an actress. You could say acting was in his blood, but so were struggles. His childhood wasn't normal. His father, though talented, was addicted to drugs. He even allowed little Robert to use marijuana at just 6 years old. This chaotic environment shaped him, but also scarred him. At age 5, Robert appeared in his father's film, Pound. By age 20, he was already in Hollywood. He had the looks, the talent, the charisma. People said he was destined for greatness, and they weren't wrong, because soon, Downey became the rising star everyone was talking about. In the 1980s, he joined Saturday Night Live. Then, he started acting in films like Weird Science and Less Than Zero. In Less Than Zero, he played a drug addict, a role so convincing people thought he was just acting. But in reality, Robert was already living that lifestyle. The truth is, he wasn't just acting, he was spiraling. But before the fall came the rise. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, Robert Downey Jr. was considered one of Hollywood's most talented young actors. His biggest breakthrough? Chaplin, 1992. Robert played Charlie Chaplin so brilliantly that he earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. He didn't win the Oscar, but the world saw his genius. Hollywood believed he could become the next Al Pacino or Marlon Brando. But destiny had other plans. While Robert's professional life was climbing, his personal life was collapsing. The truth was, his childhood exposure to drugs never left him. He became addicted to cocaine, heroin, and alcohol. Between 1996 and 2001, Robert Downey Jr. was arrested multiple times for drug possession, for trespassing, for missing court-ordered drug tests. At one point, police found him driving naked in his Porsche, with drugs and a loaded gun. Hollywood started losing faith in him. Directors stopped hiring him. Studios didn't trust him. Insurance companies refused to cover him. He was labeled unreliable, dangerous, finished. Even when he got acting jobs, his addiction followed him. In the hit TV show Ally McBeal, he won a Golden Globe. But then he relapsed. He was fired from the show. His marriage with Deborah Falconer collapsed. His relationship with his son was broken. His career was dead. And then came the lowest point, jail. Robert spent nearly a year behind bars. This was the man once called the most talented of his generation, now reduced to an inmate. In interviews later, Robert said, "It's like I had a loaded gun in my mouth and I liked the taste of metal." He admitted he couldn't stop. He had lost control. By the early 2000s, Robert Downey Jr. was considered Hollywood's biggest wasted talent. People thought his story was over. But fate wasn't done with him. Every great hero story needs a turning point. For Robert Downey Jr., that moment came with love. In 2003, he met producer Susan Levin on the set of Gothika. At first, Susan was cautious. She knew Robert's reputation, but she also saw something others had stopped seeing: his true potential. Susan gave him a condition. If you want to be with me, you have to get sober. And for the first time in his life, Robert chose love over drugs. He went to rehab. He started practicing martial arts, meditation, and therapy. He rebuilt himself step by step. But Hollywood wasn't ready to forgive yet. Studios still refused to hire him. He was considered uninsurable. Then came Mel Gibson. Gibson, who himself had faced controversies, believed in Robert. He paid Robert's insurance bond so that he could star in The Singing Detective, 2003. Slowly, Robert started rebuilding his career. Films like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, 2005, showed the world he still had that spark. But the biggest gamble was yet to come. In 2008, Marvel Studios was planning a risky project, Iron Man. The character wasn't a household name like Spider-Man or Batman. Marvel was a struggling studio, and they wanted Robert Downey Jr. for the role. But the executives were scared. Robert had a history. He was a risk. Director Jon Favreau, however, fought for him. He said, "Robert is Tony Stark. His struggles, his brilliance, his flaws, it's all the same." Finally, Marvel agreed. Robert got the role. When Iron Man released in 2008, it didn't just succeed, it changed cinema forever. Robert Downey Jr. was back. His charisma, his wit, his style. He wasn't just playing Iron Man, he was Iron Man. The film made over $585 million worldwide. And more importantly, it launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Robert Downey Jr. became the face of a billion-dollar franchise. From 2008 to 2019, he played Iron Man in 10 films, including The Avengers, Civil War, and Endgame. He became the highest-paid actor in Hollywood, earning over $75 million for Avengers, Endgame. The man once called finished was now at the very top. Robert Downey Jr.'s story is not just about fame, it's about redemption. He went from a troubled child to a wasted talent, from jail to becoming Iron Man, from being written off to becoming one of the most beloved actors in the world. His journey shows us that no matter how low you fall, no matter how broken you are, you can always rise again. Robert Downey Jr. is not just a superhero on screen. He is proof that in real life, too, we can all write our own comeback story. And that is how Robert Downey Jr. went from zero to hero. Not just the story of Iron Man, but the story of a man who became stronger than his demons, and in doing so, became a legend.